Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Please share as you join. Share as you join, please. Make sure you share. If you're just joining now, make sure you share, please. Those joining from Facebook, please make sure you share it wide and wide, okay? I can see people watching from YouTube, from Facebook, from TikTok, from all the other medias. That's how we are screaming. We are sharing all our activities in all these platforms. So please make sure you share in all those platforms. Okay, make sure you share in all those platforms as you join. Just go and share before we start the show. Today we're gonna be talking much about the 8 years of the war in Ambazonia. Okay, I want you people to make sure that we share widely as you join. Share. Let's gather. I want to see like 100 people before I start. If I see like up to 100 viewing from YouTube, Facebook, okay, we want to talk about how the evil machinations of the BR regime along the years, how the plan of the French has been to assimilate the people of Ambazonia and keep them in that bondage. Okay, but thanks to the international community, thanks to the United Nations, the Senate, you have seen the Senate, the other different parliaments, the European parliaments, that have fought so hard for the liberation of the people of Southern Cameroon. The argument for the independent movement of Ambazonia, okay, it's very clear. Okay, we have a very distinct history. Okay, when we want to talk about the historical perspective, our history is very distinct. Okay, we were colonized by the British. We had no relationship with La République du Cameroon before independence. Okay, and that's why La République du Cameroon had her independence on the 1st of January 1960. La République had their independence without the people of Southern Cameroon. On the 1st of October 1961, the United Nations asked all the members to vote. This is not about the people of Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia, trying to fight for independence. The people of Southern Cameroon are not fighting for any independence. The people of Southern Cameroon were independent before they were granted the independence through the United Nations. There were more than 100 countries that voted for the independence of Southern Cameroon. Okay, but by then the argument was that they were not economically viable to be by themselves, right? So they were asked to either join Nigeria or join Cameroon. That's it. So it's not about the people of Southern Cameroon are fighting for independence. They are not fighting for independence. The United Nations granted independence to the people of Southern Cameroon. Okay? So the world should understand that it's not that the people of Southern Cameroon are fighting for independence. They are not fighting for independence. They had their genuine independence. Okay? They had independence. But they were asked to join either Nigeria or to join the Republic of Cameroon. And through that vote, that they were asked two questions. Do you wish to become independent by joining Nigeria, or you wish to become independent by joining as equal? I want this emphasis to be made all the time. Because the President of La Republic has fooled the international community that we opted to join them. Yes, in a federal system. I want us to understand that in all countries in the world, there are minorities that are federating in those countries and don't take their federal agreement for granted. They don't take their federal agreement for granted. They respect that distinct identity of that country, of that region. Take for example, when you go to Quebec, Quebec is a distinct autonomous region. The people of Canada know that Quebec is a French region. They understand. Quebec don't even play the same lottery. Quebec has their own worker program. They have their own distinct thing. They have their own parliament, their own everything. But they understand that they are part of a system, of a federal system that respect their autonomy. You will never see somebody go to Toronto, for example, and want to change the language of Toronto to English. You can't see that because they know that Toronto is a French region. And they have that historical background. In UK, for example, you will never see the people of United Kingdom say they want to go and impose on the people of Scotland or impose on the people of Ireland, right? The Northern Ireland people. They know that they are part of the United Kingdom. That kingdom means it has so many countries inside there. So the fact that Biya wanted to assimilate the people of Southern Cameroon was a problem that incited this, because all along the years, the goal of Biya and the French people were to assimilate. I hope that we should understand this. Because when you say you want to assimilate somebody, it means that you are trying to take away the right of that person. You're trying to make that person feel that he doesn't belong. Okay, this is Biya talking about this, that he has been struggling along the years to assimilate and usurp, marginalize, taking everything from these people that join them in an equal status. I want you to understand this simple grammar. Equal status. You cannot have that kind of greed, that kind of selfishness, that a people will join you guys. They decide to join you guys because they had another option to either join Nigeria. The people of Southern Cameroon had another option to say, okay, we want to join Nigeria. But we say, okay, because for the past 40 years, the British rule both Nigeria as a colonial master, as a colony. We had the same parliament with Nigeria in the house of Enugu. And for 40 years, we were ruled by the British together with Nigeria. And that federal system did not work well for the people of Southern Cameroon. That's why we say we will not go back to Nigeria to federate with Nigeria. It was a federal system. It wasn't going to join and you end up being swallowed within that system. This is Biya talking in Mo Ibrahim's show. Exactly what he has been planning to do all along the years. And if you're a Southern Cameroonian Ambazonian, you listen to this man say this, what will you think about? Trying to wipe out your identity, wipe you all, make you a French person, change everything about you, change your perspective, everything.
On avait la possibilité de les intégrer directement dans le système francophone, qui était celui de la majorité du peuple, 80%. Mais je crois que les pays sont soucieux aujourd'hui d'affirmer leur identité. Et c'est pour ça que nous mettons sur pied un statut spécial qui reconnaît la spécificité de la zone anglophone, mais elle reste dans l'intégrité territoriale du Cameroun. Ça donne beaucoup de progrès.
Please, if you, we understand.
Time has expired.
I ask consent to speak for an additional 2 minutes.
Without objection.
Thank you. The problem of torture among refugees is significant, with an estimated 44% of refugees in the U.S. having been victims of such horrors. Those from Bosnia, Cambodia, and many other places all received the treatment at Kovler Center to recover from their trauma. During my visit, I had the privilege of meeting refugees who had fled the mounting violence in Cameroon. Cameroon...
You just heard? You just heard Paul Biya said. This is where you say that, okay, this is what I want to do, and these people, they bring you all the resources. They bring you everything, right? But you want to take it, usurp it. Think of all these years, the systematic that Biya has undermined the region, politically, economically, culturally, leading to the demands of 2016, okay, for complete independence. Lack of representation, neglect, the infrastructural development, inadequate education and healthcare system. All these come together to the aspect that we made a mistake. Our parents made a mistake to join these people. Because if you listen to even Honorable Wiba's speech, do you understand what they're talking about? The human rights violations, the extrajudicial killings, arbitrary arrests of our people, the forced displacement, okay, highlight this determination of self-determination by our people. You cannot do this to a people for many, many years, and you think that they will stay like that, and what you do, continue doing this on them. It doesn't work like that. When the people of Southern Cameroon wake up in 2016 and say enough is enough, it's when it has reached certain level. Okay. Think of it. Our people had their government. They had everything that you can say is a country, best democracy in Africa in the times of Foncha and Endele. But joining these people, our parents thought that we are going to have a gentleman's agreement. We are going to have that good relationship like you are in a marriage, right? When you are in a marriage or you are in matrimony, you expect that two will become, in that harmonious relationship, they will live together and share everything like husband and wife. But in a relationship that is toxic, what do you see? You see all the mistreatment, all the manipulations, or everything that comes with it. Okay. But at the end of the day, the Biya regime has been very toxic. This is the American Parliament, American Senate, talking about the atrocities of Biya. Take a listen.
Time has expired.
I ask consent to speak for an additional 2 minutes.
Without objection.
Thank you. The problem of torture among refugees is significant, with an estimated 44% of refugees in the U.S. having been victims of such horrors. Those from Bosnia, Cambodia, and many other places all received the treatment at Kovler Center to recover from their trauma. During my visit, I had the privilege of meeting refugees who had fled the mounting violence in Cameroon. Cameroon, a West African nation, is dealing with complicated colonial legacy. Following World War I, the League of Nations appointed France and Great Britain as joint trustees of what was previously a German colony. Not surprisingly, the two colonial powers imposed their own cultures on the new Cameroon, and tragically, following the country's independence in the 1960s, Cameroonian strongman President Paul Biya, one of the world's longest-serving leaders, now almost 40 years in office, further favored the French-speaking over the Anglophones. The results were not surprising: mounting resentment and calls for greater autonomy within the Anglophone population, with ensuing violent suppression from the Biya regime. The refugees I met with told harrowing stories of this crackdown and violence. I was pleased to join Senator Van Hollen late last year in a letter urging Secretary Pompeo to focus U.S. attention on the unrest in Cameroon. Equally pleased when the administration scaled back U.S. military assistance to Cameroon due to this government's violent repression. As a member of the Appropriations Committee, I will be watching carefully on the level of violence in Cameroon when the day comes when we consider any foreign aid to this nation. The work of the Culver Center is a reminder that if we are going to stand up for human rights, we must be willing to be vigilant at all times, even for small countries far away like Cameroon. Mr. President, I yield the floor.
Under the previous order, the Senate will proceed to executive session to resume consideration of the following nomination, which the clerk will report.
Nomination, Millennium Challenge Corporation, Sean Cairncross of Minnesota to be Chief Executive Officer.
So we have seen that is how our struggle, our movement have gone to the United States Senate, gone to the floor of the EU's discussions, gone to the floor of the United Nations, gone to the floor of the European Union. This is how we have gone this far for 8 years. And there are people who don't understand that this movement has gone too far, that they still think that we are in the first 2 years of the movement. No, this is something that for the past 8 years, the people of Southern Cameroon have died. There have been atrocities. There have been burnings of several villages. The killings of the people of Southern Cameroon has gone on for 8 years. But if you understand, having a dictatorial regime that does not want to negotiate, okay, that is how it is. Somebody has been for power for 42 years, Paul Biya. You can understand the kind of heart he has. He has killed a lot of people. He has detained a lot of people. He has crippled a lot of people. He has exiled a lot of people. Okay, so he doesn't care. If someone that care, this war would have ended in 2, 3, 4, 5 years. But this is the 8th year going to the 9th year that we are still in a stalemate. But because of the greed, the resources that our people bring into this union, the government of La Republique, their greed, they said they want to take everything. They want to take everything. They don't want to share. Because if it's a wise regime that you want stability, you say, good, this is how we want to do it, right? The thing that pains the people of Southern Cameroon is the fact that you come with everything that you have and you are left with nothing. Nothing. I'm telling you, we cannot come with more than 3 airports. 3 airports, I'm telling you. Tico, Manfe, Bali. Today we don't have any single airport in Ambazonia. One we don't have. You come with about 3 banks. Today we don't have a single bank in Ambazonia. That is ours. You come with like 5 major companies. Today you don't have a single that you can say this is a company or a parastatal company that employed a lot of people. Pamo is down. CDC is down. They are selling CDC lands, sharing to their people there. You have heard about land grabbing, how they are selling lands. Autre instruction. Someone will stay in Yaoundé and sign a dirty paper that they should give lands to people. In Yaoundé, somebody that does not even know how the area is, they only know how to sell, privatize to foreign companies, to foreign people, individuals. And that is how they have sold everything. When we had marketing board was one of the best cocoa coffee broker in the whole of West Africa. When back then the farmers had their cocoa, they would sell to marketing board. Because marketing board was buying for a very good price, because they were the one doing all the shipment, doing everything. But now you have a French company called Sode Coton. They'll come and buy as they like, because they are coming from Douala. They'll come and buy Sode Coton. They come and buy cocoa and coffee there in our regions for very little crumbs. Then they sell for very exorbitant prices. Whereas when we had marketing board back then, marketing board was the second employer or the third employer after the government itself when it comes to employment. But today, marketing board was crumbled intentionally. I mean, this is what, as Bia said, they intentionally cripple those companies so that we should have known. We had about 3 shipping yards. Back then, they called it shipping yard because they did not want to understand that this had something that is an airport. Victoria had a shipyard where they were even repairing ships. Little ships were coming there. But today, the fake promise of a deep sea port in Limbe is still hanging over the heads of the people who went for their special status. Those fake promises are still hanging on their head. The fake promises of House of Chiefs is still hanging on their head. The people who were claiming that they will have that special status. We don't need a special status. Who needs special status when you come to join somebody and to have equal status? We did not join these guys for special status. We joined because this is Bia telling that history has not forgotten that Boya was a capital. Then why do you fight the people of Southern Cameroon? Why do you declare war on them if you know the truth that Boya was a capital of Southern Cameroon? You don't want people to have to establish their own autonomy. You don't want them to do anything. You declare war on them and you know the truth. Bia was there when Foncha and Ndeli were there.
History has not forgotten that Boya was the headquarters of West Cameroon. History has not forgotten that Boya was the capital of Southern Cameroon. And history has not forgotten that Boya was once the capital of German Cameroon. That is why I say that Boya is a historic town. I am proud, very proud to be in Boya, proud to walk on the same soil like our heroes.
On avait la possibilité.
2005.
Where do you place Ambazonia?
You've listened. That's him saying, history has not forgotten this. But we are trying to understand that now is a different era, but the same Bia is there, and he knows the history, but he does not want to tell the people the truth. Why do you think that the people of Yaoundé, the government of Yaoundé, does not want to celebrate the Independence Day? Because they don't want the people to know the truth. That's the only thing. Why they don't want to celebrate the Independence Day. Cameroon, La Republique, is the only country in the world that does not celebrate their Independence Day. Why? Because they want to tie their independence with the independence of Ambazonia, Southern Cameroon. No, we do not have the same day of independence. And that's why all along the years, they have made this notion of 11 February and 20th May, okay, as the Independence Day, which has nothing to do with that, right? The people of La Republique know this today. Your independence is 1st of January. Let Bia not come every year, and does not want to tell you the truth. The truth is that the 1st of January is your Independence Day. It's not your born année. It's not born année day. Don't be confused with New Year, born année. No. The 1st of January is your Independence Day. La Republique people, listen. Don't be fooled by Pobia. Find time. Start celebrating your independence. The people of Southern Cameroon had their independence on 1st of October. That's why you see us celebrating our independence every 1st of October. 1st of October, we celebrate with joy. That is the lie that you have to hold your president for lying to you. That your independence has something to do with 20th May. 20th May it has nothing to do with your Independence Day. Okay? Yes. The experts have cautioned Paul Biya. Go to negotiation. Go to negotiation. They are only thinking of presidential election. Okay? And you see, this is how selfish they are. You cannot have a war going on. You think about presidential election. You don't even think about the people of Southern Cameroon. How do you manage a crisis where the people are saying that, hey, and let's go back to the drawing table. Let's go back to the drawing board. Check this relationship. If it's not working, go your separate ways. As simple as that. The people of Southern Cameroon declared their independence, their recognition or restoration of their independence in 2017. Yes, when Ayuk Tabek declared that we have restored that independence that was given to us in 1961, 1st of October. So we are now trying to restore that, or going forward to a recognition of that independence. Okay, because I still say this: 64 countries voted for the independence of Southern Cameroon. 64 countries, and those 64 countries have not withdrawn their votes, and that's why I always say that Norway, that is holding one of our leaders today, forgot that they voted for the independence of Southern Cameroon. Instead of asking the question to the government of Yaoundé, but these people got independence, and we voted for their independence. So you who voted for the independence of somebody, you are going to hold one of their leader who is fighting to restore that independence that you voted for. That's the logic. America voted for independence. There are 64 of those countries. So any of those 64 of those countries still owe the people of Southern Cameroon their vote and their support automatically. But the truth shall set them free. Because we are free. We are free people. stay safe. God bless the people of Southern Cameroon. But everything goes the same way that we have been talking about. Without that truth, the government of Yaoundé will never be free. Will never be free. They have bigger fishes to fry, and they have to finish their fish. Thank you for watching.
7,000 refugees from Cameroon registered with the UNHCR. Thousands more have been forced to flee their homes, and dozens of villages have been ethnically cleansed. According to the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs and High Commissioner for Refugees, 437,000 from the Anglophone regions have been displaced, whilst the charity Protection Approaches says that 3.3 million are in need of humanitarian assistance. Amnesty reports that 450 to 500 civilians and 185 members of the security services have been killed. UNICEF estimates that 58 schools have been destroyed, 47 political leaders are being held without charge, and a recent Amnesty report refers to, and I quote, arbitrary arrests, torture, unlawful killings, and the destruction of property. The Catholic Bishops' Conference has called it, quote, inhuman, blind, monstrous violence. And of the October election, Archbishop Samuel Cleda, the president of the Bishops' Conference, says, one has the impression election results are decided before voting takes place. My lords, we can all share in these horrendous statistics, but what I want to do is this evening focus on what conclusions we can draw from the United Kingdom's dismal approach to this situation. More than ever, with Britain's potential departure from the European Union, we must seek to define our role in the world. And it would be helpful to know from the Noble Baroness the Minister whether, for instance, human rights issues were assessed before, for instance, the New Age natural gas deal was announced, what consideration has been given to targeted sanctions, and whether this crisis figures in the Foreign Secretary's recent commitment on atrocity prevention. My lords, the government mustn't suggest that this is a level playing field conflict in a civil war between equal sides. Too often in the past, in Bosnia, in Rwanda, in Darfur, the United Kingdom chose the path of moral equivalence, hinting that both sides were as bad as each other is the easy way out. In a previous generation, this was known as appeasement. Moral equivalence signals that we cannot be expected to pass judgment on which side is more to blame for the conflict. Instead, we issue the usual calls for a cessation of violence and a negotiated settlement, or we frame political conflicts as if they were natural disasters requiring aid, and we're very generous at sending aid rather than political solutions. At its worst, in Rwanda, Bosnia and Darfur, we have portrayed the persecution of unarmed civilians by repressive governments as a result of ancient ethnic hatreds, thereby dehumanizing the victims and denying the legitimacy of the protesters who yearn for the rights that we take for granted. By citing ancient ethnic hatreds, we absolve ourselves of the obligation under international law to stop the killing. It's also disingenuous to defend our tepid response by claiming that the circumstances present us with a simple binary choice between wringing our hands in dismay or putting British boots on the ground. This is to ignore the potential for soft power available to the international community, be it concerted and sustained diplomatic pressure, carefully targeted sanctions, or international justice. The grievances fueling the violence in Cameroon did not erupt overnight. We had plenty of warning, but we chose not to listen to Cameroon's Anglophone minority. Anglophones represent 20% of the population, but for years there was only one Anglophone member of the 36-person cabinet in Yaoundé, just one example of their systematic marginalization. My lords, we shouldn't underestimate the influence we have, but it speaks volumes that we left it to the American ambassador to express his disapproval of the Cameroonian government's brutal response to peaceful protests. For decades, the Francophone government has ignored the pleas of moderate representatives of civil society, such as church leaders. Calls for a federal solution were ignored by President Biya, 36 years in power, fueling the calls for secession and thereby polarizing opinion. Breaking point came when the Francophone government sought to impose French laws in the French language in Anglophone courts and sent Francophone teachers speaking French into English schools. They responded to peaceful protest with disproportionate force. The International Crisis Group reports that a government helicopter, for instance, hovered outside a church, shooting Anglophone worshippers as they emerged from Mass. Inevitably, disproportionate actions led to the current escalation. In the face of all this, my lords, there is nothing admirable about being even-handed in the face of the suffering of the Anglophone community. The United Kingdom should support the Anglophone community's peaceful civil society leaders in seeking genuine and inclusive talks. We need a targeted strategy for atrocity prevention and, my lords, a commitment to bring to justice those responsible for human rights violations wherever they occur.
My lords, I too would like to thank my noble friend Lord Boateng for